Working Artist Project is brought to you by Second Line Arts Collective. Learn how you can support at secondlinearts.org.
We're creating a platform for those who are curious, one that tells the story from the artist's perspective. Moments in time, captured from the innovators who are reshaping dance, music, theater, and the visual arts. This is the Working Artist Project.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today is March 21st, 2020. Welcome to the Working Artist Project. Mr. Darian Douglas, how are you today?
Gregory Aji, I am good, man. Look, man, today is a dream come true, Greg. Can you believe it? A dream come true.
You know what? I do believe it because you are the only person I know who's living his dream.
Nah, man, we all living our dream, man. That's the beautiful thing about it, man.
Yes, indeed.
Dig this, man. Today's guest is probably one of our most special guests. I think this is episode 140.
Holy shit.
I think this is 100. I think this is 140 right here. And we have the one and only JD Allen today. And I'm gonna name off some names real quick, Greg. And you tell me if you ever heard of these people. And I'm sure our listeners have. Okay. Check this out. Betty Carter. Should I keep going? Lewis Hayes, Frank Foster, Winard Harper, Dave Douglas, Butch Morris, David Murray. Come on, man. Wallace Roney, Rufus, Reid, and Geri Allen, man. You could just stop playing, right? You just give up. You done. You play with everybody.
those are the cats, man. It's funny you mentioned David Murray. I was listening to Alvin Baptiste with the Clarinet Summit, and I believe David Murray's playing bass clarinet on those records.
Hey, you see what I'm saying? This is crazy, man. Okay, before we get into that, though, I forgot we gotta announce that we have our summer camp this summer, June 6th through June 17th, down in New Orleans, the Sanaa Music Workshop, and it's Greg's baby. So, Greg, you can tell them more about what's happening.
It's my baby. It's a camp. We have a camp. Ladies and gentlemen, this year we're very excited. This is going to be our first year back in person since COVID, and this is going to be our 6th annual Sanaa Music Workshop. We are extremely excited to be hosting the wonderful Marquise Hill, coming down from Chicago to spend a week with our students. And for those of you who don't know, Marquise Hill is an incredibly gifted composer. He actually won the Thelonious Monk trumpet competition in 2015 or 16 or so. And he's been one of my favorite artists. So I'm particularly excited because he was my dream artist. And we have him coming down. So if you all know any young people who are interested in pursuing a career in the arts and developing their music business skills, go check out secondlinearts.org and you can register online and sign up now because we still have some scholarship money available, and you got to sign up before that runs out.
Yeah, bro. All right, so let's get into the show, y'all. So like I just already gave the introduction, so without further ado, I would like to welcome the one and only JD Allen to the Working Artist Project. What up, JD? You there?
Hey, I'm here. How you doing, fellas?
What's good, man? What's good?
Everything's everything, up above, like you gentlemen. Thanks for having me here. Looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, I was telling Greg how we met actually through Zoom at the Billy Hart thing where they was doing all those drum things.
Oh yeah.
Over COVID, and I was like, man, why is JD at all these drum? What's happening? And but you
checking it out.
Yeah, you was one of the few horn players in there.
Yeah.
And I've been a big fan for a long time. Greg has been a big fan for a long time.
I appreciate that, fellas. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. Yeah, you never know if anybody's listening. So, but when you do hear that someone is listening, it makes me thankful and it encourages me to keep going. Thank you.
Yeah, bro. So what is your inspiration to keep going? Because this is a hard business to do past 20. I feel
it is.
A lot of people give up. That's what I'm saying.
Really? Because I figured like the only other gig that's probably more happening than this is baseball. You can kind of keep some semblance of being youthful. What keeps me going? I figured out a long time ago that this was probably the only thing that I was halfway decent at. So, you know, this or other options, this was more appealing. Although I did want to be a boxer at one time and a fireman. Thought about that. Yeah. So, you know, but it's all pain, 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 joy, joy, joy in some sense of the word. So yeah, the musician thing. I just keep doing it. You know, it's a passion. I can't really think of anything else that I would want to do. So that's what it is, good or bad. But this is it.
It's funny as you said that you said this was the only thing I really wanted to do, and I remember it like flashed me back to when I used to take lessons with Ellis Marcellus about 10 years ago.
Mhm.
I would walk him to his car every evening, and we would have the same conversation every week. And it started off with like, "So, what else are you good at?"
There you go. You know.
And I never really got that because and you know, it always end up with like, this is a hard life, and you need to be sure that you love this more than anything else in the world, because if you don't love it more than anything in the world, there's literally no reason to do this.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. And you know, yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know if it's more than anything else in the world. It was kind of like that in my 20s, but now that I've seen a few more summers and winters, you know, it's probably third on my list now because you know ultimately people are more important than the art form because I like to think that that art is an expression of your experiences and you have experiences with people. You know? So I feel a lot more comfortable saying that people are first and then music or art is a strong third. You know what I mean? So you got family, then maybe some people will have faith or you know, I don't know, whatever that second would be, but art is a strong third because it informs the other two things informs the conversations that you have with what you're playing about or drawing or painting about or whatever your medium is. You know, you dig what I'm saying? So
Oh,
when I was
absolutely.
in my 20s, like, yeah, this is more important than anything, and this is the world. But you know, it's a little bit different now for me. You know, I think it's
That's
healthier to think like that.
Like what experiences with people would you say help bring that into focus for you?
Well, I mean, it's the everyday experiences that we all have. You know, I mean, you know, yeah. I mean, one time I looked up the different types of feelings you can have, and happiness was all by itself, which was really alarming. The rest of them all felt like sad to me, uptight, anger, you know, and happiness was all by itself. But it's different things that we all go through. We all love, we all want to be loved, you know. Uh, unless you know you have different shades of that. You have narcissists who probably love themselves, you know, but there's a reason for that as a result of not being loved. That's another topic. But you know, we go through these things in life uh, as we walk through life, trying to make our way to the end of what that's going to be, and hopefully it has some meaning. You know, it's the same experiences that you have. You know, you got family. You know, perseverance. I mean, we can go on, you know, just everyday people stuff, you know, just that we're fortunate enough to have a vehicle to to express ourselves with that, you know. But that's what I mean by experiences.
and that's such
I'm
an
not saying
important.
you got to do something crazy or live a artist life or anything like that, but just, you know, whatever it is that makes you strive to be a human in this world, you know, that those experiences. You know, relatable experiences.
I feel like that's a really important point that you made too, because I totally identify that too. Like in my 20s and a little bit before that, I was music, music, music. That's all that
Yeah,
matters, music. And then I kind of saw people as a distraction from music for a minute
yeah,
too.
yeah.
And I think it's such an important thing to remember that like we can't make this art in a vacuum. We need to
True.
connect with people on the bandstand, and then we also need to connect with an audience on some level.
Hmm.
And I think that's such an important point that you bring up too, especially as a well-regarded saxophone player who does play, all types of styles of this genre.
Hmm.
Um, I was wondering if you could dig into. I know you're from Detroit,
Mhm.
and could you dig into like maybe like what initially drew you to pursuing this music and studying the saxophone on a serious level?
Um, I started out singing. My mom was a vocalist, and she didn't go all the way into that career, but she kind of lived vicarious through me and my sister. So it was a singing situation, and I picked up the clarinet at 9, and I had an aunt, my aunt Monica, who told me about a music that she called progressive music, um, and that was her way of saying jazz, like things that you make up. Because I couldn't read if I had a good ear, so I would go to my music classes and learn the music by ear, and I would make up these parts along with that. And my teacher had said that there's a music that's called jazz. I told my aunt about it. She said, "Oh, yeah, that's progressive music." As I got older, I went to a very uh, pretty cool fine art school in Detroit called Northwestern Detroit High School. James Carter was a student there. Anita Baker went there. Betty Carter went to Northwestern. Tommy Flanagan. A lot of people went to that school. It was down the street from Motown, and that was probably my first real introduction into learning jazz. And that was it. I was about 14, 15 years old. I got really into trying to learn how to learn this art form. If that answered your question correctly, my mind veered off to the past for a second,
You're
so I
doing
hope
great.
I
You're
got
doing
it.
great. You're doing great.
Man, dig
But
this.
let's keep swinging, nonetheless.
Yeah, right. Okay, so I want to I want to know about two people on your list,
Okay.
on that great list that you just presented to us. First of all, I want to know about Betty Carter, because we hear all of these stories about Betty Carter, and I kind of want to know your experience with her, and also with Geri Allen, because Jerry's gone, and I mean Betty's gone too, but just those two people, I just want to hear how you experienced them, and how they live through you today.
Um. Wow. Well, Miss Carter, I got into that situation by accident. It was a happy accident. There still is. I think I know Jason Moran runs it now. It was a program called Jazz Ahead, and a friend of mine's I applied for it, and he asked me to perform on his audition demo or tape. It was a tape then, so I wasn't trying for it. So I played his tunes that he was submitting to the program. I was actually on my way to joining the army. Yeah, I was going to be a sergeant, and I actually took the first oath, maybe, yeah, and I didn't take the second oath. But anyway, so he got called for the program Jazzy Head. It was the second Jazzy Head, and she said, "Okay, tell the saxophone player that I would like him be a to join the program." So I didn't go to take the second oath for the army. I just went to New York, and I was in the program, and she asked me to join the band. And I think at the time what we were, at least it was a trumpet player from Chicago by the name of Pevin Everett. He was also in that band, along with Eric Reeves, Xavier Davis, and a drummer by the name of Will Terrell. So we were kind of like the young band, and she was kind of not. It wasn't a commercial, but it was kind of letting people know that she had this program, and we were like her specimens on stage. That was the gig was the school, and man, it was scary as hell, man. I mean, it wasn't nothing. I mean, I can't in a beautiful way. You know what I mean? It was like you were learning in real time. It was tough love. It was a chance to work with the master who had worked with other masters who actually knew Charlie Parker, who knew John Coltrane, and all of these great titans. And it was my connection to some of my heroes uh, that I loved, and working with the vocalist first, I think was served. It was a great advantage because it gave me there were certain demands as far as being an instrumentalist, playing with the vocalist. It taught me about structure, coloring, lyrics, approaches. So and she was tough, and I was a hard-headed 21 year old, and that's what I needed. And she gave me a shot, and it brought me to New York, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful, man. It was like I wouldn't trade that for the world. After that, it gave me a lot of confidence to continue. That's what she did for me. Now, Miss Allen, Miss Geri Allen, is a different situation. They both are from Detroit. There was a great teacher by the name of Marcus Belgrave in Detroit, a trumpet player. It was kind of like you had to go through Marcus Belgrave in order to leave. And I had done some playing with him while I was in Detroit. And obviously Geri Allen, Kenny Garrett, Bob Hurst, a whole host of people had played with him also. So Geri Allen was a hero to us, the kids that I grew up with playing. I mean, I had a poster of Geri Allen on my wall. It was like Geri Allen was just and is, amazing. Getting a chance to work with her, um, she was, you know what, man, I used to get, the few times that I did play in her band, I would listen to her play and get lost because I was just so mesmerized by what she was able to create on that piano. It wasn't music, it was magic. And think about it, she was probably the second pianist to play with Ornette Coleman. Paul Blade being the first, Geri Allen being the second. So that tells you a lot right there, who she was, and it was such an honor to perform with her. And she was a magician, just amazing. I wouldn't trade that experience in the world, so it was great. Everything that you can think of in all the positive sense of playing with your heroes and masters, that's what it was. That feeling of not being able to cut it, getting the courage to go to work and deal with that, deal with your not being able to do what they wanted, all those feelings, and trying to overcome that, toughen me up to hang in there, as you say, So I'm grateful for those experiences.
You kind of mentioned, you used the word toughen up and kind of like, and I feel like Darian and I identify a lot with that style of teaching. Cause I think that we still came up maybe at the tail end of the tough love era of music education. Do you feel like that tough love is like something that's necessary in teaching and passing this music down? Cause again, like, I feel like we're like I'm a teacher now. And we spent so much time talking about how to like, be respectful to the students and baby them and all this kind of stuff. And I just remember like being scared shitless of my teachers. And so I'm wondering, like, do you have an opinion on like, again, like, do you feel like that's the best way to learn, or do you think it was just like a result of the era and how these people came up, and what are your feelings on that?
Well, see, I kind of came before the generation of where you went to school to learn how to play jazz. When I came about, it was still like you had to go get a gig with an elder, an apprenticeship on a stage. Now, granted, a lot of the places we were playing, and I'm saying from Detroit, the gigs got better in the sense of type of venues I was playing once I started playing in New York. But in the beginning, it was like a lot of bars, bar culture. you know, and there's all types of people in bars, so it's a different type of language in a bar late at night with people who do things after 10 o'clock, and only God knows what good things happens after 10 o'clock, 10 p.m.
The 10 is early.
I think
Yeah.
musicians know too, man. And God and musicians know what's up.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that it's better, but it's more immediate, and okay, for all intents and purposes, Jelly Roll Morton say he invented jazz. Let's say let's ask the question, who is Jelly Roll Morton? Are you familiar with Jelly? Yeah, are you from New Orleans, right?
Man,
This is New Orleans. You know Jelly Roll Morton. Who is he? He was
I would just assume that playing piano was his last profession.
Yeah, so
that's probably what he did on the side.
Okay, cool. So, and that's something that we need to recognize. Is like that was the hip hop cat before there was hip hop. I mean, you listen to Murder Blues, the 30-minute Murder Blues. he was saying a lot of stuff that these young cats are saying in the mainstream, but with that Spanish tinge in the back, you know. So we're coming from that thing to evolving all through where jazz is played. So that's how I learned, you know. Now, is it good? Some of it, yes. Some of it wasn't, you know. But I think it's more immediate, and it was more of a life or death situation, meaning that if you don't do it, then you get fired, then you don't eat, you know. So it wasn't about getting a good grade. It was about keeping the gig so you can put some food on your table.
But
And that's
that's
a
real.
different
Like
thing.
that's so real because again, like that, I think there's a huge disconnect in like the way this lifestyle is portrayed in a classroom at a high school or college level because it is life and death. You know, like if you don't know the tunes when you show up to a gig, you don't get hired again, and
Get
then you
fired. You don't
don't
get
eat.
called back. You know,
Yeah, like,
or you get embarrassed. You know, like in that in Betty Carter, Miss Carter would let you know right there in front of the world, you ain't cutting it. You know, and you know, she used to say you either when you're in the fire pan, you either cook or burn. You know, so you either gonna cook or you gonna burn. You know, and I wasn't trying to burn. I wasn't trying to go back to Detroit. I mean, I had to go back a few times, but I wasn't. I tried my best to hang in there, you know, and not give up. I wasn't gonna give anybody the satisfaction of defeat. You know, if I was gonna get knocked down, I'm getting back up. I was like, I'm the Joe Frazier of jazz. I'm getting up. I'm gonna take it on the chin, broken jaw. I'm still getting it in. You know what I mean? So like, that was my mentality. You know, so but as far as being abusive to students and things like that, I don't think that's cool. Like that movie Whiplash, I don't think you should drive a student um, to a mental breakdown. I think everything should be done with love. If you're gonna knock something down, pick it up and dust it off, and make sure it's all there and in place, and then continue on. It should be all positive and constructive criticism, you know,
yeah.
but done in a meaningful way, not like a service industry way. Like, okay, let me make sure this, you know, because not to knock school or anything like that, but I think school is more of a service industry type thing. You know, you pay a
Yeah.
lot of money, and you know,
No,
and that's
absolutely.
cool too. However, you can get the information, get it. It's up to that individual to do what they're gonna do. So I'm not knocking that. I just learned a different way. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm more with the street way because I came up. I mean, you know, this is why I'll make this one argument for the way that you learn and the way that I learn music. For instance, if you go to college and you're in a jazz band, they give you a whole semester to learn 4 songs, and I'm just trying to figure out in what world can you do that? Can you take 5 months to learn 4 pieces of music for one show? Like, no, you got 2 days, learn it.
Well,
You
I
learn
think
like
that's better. I mean, I bet you really know those tunes though.
you know them, but them the only 4 tunes most of the students learn. It's not like they're pushing themselves past that. So it's like
Well,
an expectation,
I
you
mean,
know?
not okay. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
No,
Okay,
no.
but
I was
I'm
I'm
just saying, like, cause wow, that's great. You learned 4 tunes in how many months? Like a whole semester?
no, not me, but I'm just for instance, if you're in a jazz band,
Yeah.
right, the big band at school, they're gonna give you 5 charts. They're gonna give you the whole semester to learn those 5 charts.
By heart or just on paper?
No, on paper, nobody memorized it. Like
Oh
nobody's
yeah, well they
pushing
should be
themselves that.
memorizing. That's one thing. They should get rid of all music stands. I don't believe in music stands. I think if you got to use a music stand, the music is too damn long. No, I really believe that.
Oh, I love
I
that.
think the music stand is like getting in the way of a lot of things, you know,
Yep.
visually and it's kind of I'm down with composition, but I think this is more than composition. I think this is, you know, it's a mix of the two. And I think that, like in my bands, I don't allow music stands.
Yeah.
You got to know the music, and it shouldn't be something that can't be memorable. You know, it shouldn't be.
Right.
It should be something that people can memorize and interpret, and it gets better over time. Then you can add the little things. You know, so that's one thing. But to be getting 4 tunes to learn in a semester. I wish I had time like that because then I would have really learned those tunes.
Yeah,
That's
but I'm just
great.
saying it's not really how it works out here as a working musician, especially if you a side man.
Hmm.
You gotta really like, you know, for instance, like this week I'm learning 2 different bands' music. Like that's just what
Hmm.
it is. Plus all the other shit I gotta do. I got a kid.
Yeah.
That's so just to give the cats in school a sense of urgency.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how do they do it with the cats who doing brain surgery? I'm sure at some point they gonna kick up the anxiety level. Like, you're gonna have to learn a lot of shit in a little bit of time. So that's the real life, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to not to stay too long on that. Um, yeah, it takes. I think it really takes. I mean, some people are tunesmiths. I'm not a tunesmith. Like, I've learned a number of tunes over years. But like you can learn a bunch of tunes, but do you really know them? I mean, to really know them is to play them a lot
Yeah.
of times. But so
No,
if I had
absolutely.
4 tunes, shit, I might even do that in my practice now. I might like take a month and just work on 4 tunes. That's
Yeah, yeah.
dope.
No, you
That's
can do that.
dope.
I'm just saying, like, yes, absolutely. Like,
Gary
but
just talking shit about school. Let's just.
no, 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 no.
No, I'm
Well,
down. I mean,
no, no, this
I
is the
get
thing.
it though. I get it. I get it.
I'm
And
just
and
saying, in the real world, you got to learn a lot more music. But it is good, like you're saying, to take those 4 tunes and really shed them
yeah,
so you internalize.
yeah, get him in all the keys.
Yeah.
Find the right tempo. Learn the lyrics. Try to find every version of it as possible. Oh, if you had that, I mean, I guess that's what school could afford. I mean, that's cool if you could do that. I think the memorization part should be included in that.
Right.
And then again, there you go. That's probably why it's important to have working musicians teaching students, because then you can interject that type. And
Yes.
not to knock anybody who hasn't done that, but there's an advantage to someone who been a soldier on the field. They could be like, okay, I've
Absolutely.
encountered this, and this is what will make it better. But the music stand is an issue. I think
Yeah.
it's a big issue, and I think it's pushing it towards a place as to where classical music had finally ended up. Where it was less about interpretation and more about the letter.
Mm,
So I
Hmm.
think that's a dangerous spot. Yeah,
yeah.
I think that should be gone.
As we're
Death to
talking
all
about
music stands.
get to all music stands.
Death off with their heads.
I
Music
love that.
stands.
I love
Make
that.
sure I say that.
That's funny because
Away.
I grew up Alvin Baptiste, the great clarinet player from down.
Yeah, I met him. Woo! Bad.
Yeah, and he always he would always say like no music on my bandstand.
Yeah.
And it's funny too, like as we're talking about learning like 4 or 5 tunes and things like that. I mean, again, in every situation, there's an upside and a downside for it. And I something I loved about Mr. Bat is that like he had several songs that he played throughout his life that were his original compositions, but at every era of his life, the song sounded different.
Mm-hmm. True.
And based on the musicians he was playing with, the song would have a different feel, a different rhythm, a different bass line, different this, different that.
Mm-hmm.
And so look, I love you, Darren, and I do respect where you're coming from because the thing is like it is true. Like you're gonna have to learn more than 4 tunes at some point in your
Mm-hmm.
life.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a certain like beauty to like spending a lot of time with the melody and spending a lot of time with some changes, and and as we go through life too, like the song means something different to us. So maybe with that experience, we can approach it differently.
True. I
Yeah, no,
agree.
absolutely. I'm all about the study of music. We got to study it, and I always tell cats, music takes time.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
you
A
got to,
lifetime.
yeah, you got to get in there. I'm just saying, push your fucking self. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody's different. You know what I mean? Everybody got a different time and I'm not making excuses for anyone. I'm with you also. I'm there, and that's the part where a band leader, um, the band leaders that I've encountered were, they push the supporting artists that were working with them. Even if it was something that um, you played a lot. Like I played with Cindy Blackman for a number of years, and we used to have like 6-hour rehearsals.
Wow.
And we would work on 3 tunes. How many ways can we play this tune? That was fun. I learned so much from those rehearsals, man. Okay, let's try it like this. Okay, what can we do to this standard? Let's just play the A of the standard. Like people know the tune, but we're just gonna deal with the A, right? And then be like, okay, let's put these chords on these standard. But you played them, JD, you played the melody because that's the melody. That is the tune. We ain't gotta go to the bridge. We'll just play that A, those A bars.
Hmm.
Or just play the bridge. We would experiment. Okay, let's try it in this key, or try this pedal against that, and we would do that for 6 hours, man. And it was like I learned about how to rehearse a band and uh, how to how to interject an idea, just an impression of something, but go on to something else. You know, kind of like the Ornette thing, where you have a group of changes there, and then when you have a whole set of different changes, but it is that tune because the theme stated that, and people are recognize that, or they know it's a standard. So you know, it's some freedom to working on things for a while. I mean, there's a reason, uh, in my opinion, like for me, like I feel like if you want to check out John Coltrane, check out all the stuff, but you notice there's a lot of recordings of him playing impressions,
Hmm.
right? And if you want to check out Mr. Rollins, check out Three Little Words. There's a lot of recordings of him just playing, you know, playing Three Little Words for years. And it's different. And you can hear how he was experimenting with that. And that was his gateway tunes, you know. So finding gateway tunes and
Hmm.
picking tunes that are meant for you to play. That's tough. And that might not be a big bag of tunes. You know, you can know a lot of tunes, but in my opinion, there are certain tunes that are meant for you to play. You know, you have to spend time with that and see what you can, you know, what you can get out of that. So
What
that's my take on it. But yeah, pushing yourself, you know, within those parameters, I think is a good thing.
man? Just out of curiosity, what tunes are those for you?
Oh, um, I mean, I'm trying to get into Three Little Words. I mean, see what why is Mr. Rollins playing? And like, you know, it's an easy tune, but it's not an easy tune. You know, it's a gateway tune that you can open up on, and it's right now it's that. You know, I have a tendency you know, Lester Young played it, and the same. You know, I think there's a tradition of that, and I always try to. For some people, it's body and well. For I remember when I was growing up, it was like you got to play body and soul, you know, because
Yeah.
Coleman Hawkins, that was a gateway tune for tenor, or Giant Steps is a gateway tune for harmonic sophistication. You know, for me right now, it's Three Little Words, you know, because I'm checking out some things on that and coming to a realization, even though it's very simple. There's something about that tune that's just special that I'm hearing at the moment. You know, so that's one of them.
So JD, for years, I've been studying people like you, people who have achieved success and
Okay.
and you know, it made their dream job come true.
Hmm.
I'm curious, like, what do you think the ratio is for hard work and luck? Because I think personally, I think that for every person that achieves a high level of success, like yourself and Bill Gates and all these other people,
Oh, I wish it was
there's
like Bill
there's,
Gates.
there's a little bit of
We
you
all be
know.
cool if it was like Bill Gates. I'd be like, what? What? You know, no, I
Yeah,
hear you. I'm listening.
but like, what is that ratio for you? Like, what percentage do you think is success, and what percentage do you think is luck, or do you
Well,
even?
first of all, I don't believe in luck.
Hmm.
I don't believe in that word. I think I try not to use it. Um, and then you know, your success moves as you move along, right? Success used to be like, I want to play in New York and I want to play at a jazz club. So I did that. And then it was like hanging out at the Vanguard at the bottom of the stairs because I couldn't get in listening. And then Miss Gordon saying, "Get away from here." And I told her, "One day I'm gonna play here." And I thought I would have been a success. And I did it, you know. And then it moved to like, I want to make records. Then I did that. And then it moved to it moves. It should move, you know, if you're not stagnant. So I don't know. It depends on what is I think it's a success if you pick up your instrument, just a personal success, and you you continue to work on your craft. Because I've done jobs before and where I wasn't playing, but I think had I stopped practicing, I would have been a failure. Failure is not doing it. So deal with the first success of you just doing your art, not for financial gain, not for fame, for the almost like a Jedi for the for the art form in itself. Get that success first, and then everything else is like, oh, that's cool, but like I'm already doing this right now. I know that's a bit tricky, right? That, I mean, because I tell myself like, okay, what did I got to do with my wallet, or what did I got to do with whatever? But no, it's just the success starts with you taking your instrument out that case and you putting in the work just for the sake of it, just for the practice. Because practicing is what I'm finding that this is really all about. The playing out live and all that for people is cool, but really the meditation of just practicing your instrument and getting into that and what it does for you as a person, what it opens up for you as a person is the success. And I think if you come from that angle, whoever would be a lot happier. That's what I think. If you're trying to get paid and be famous, go do something else. But if you're doing it for the art form and for a higher purpose, that I think that's the goal. And everyone that I dig, the Titans, from what I've read and from what I met, that's where they were coming from. You know, so that's how I feel about that. I think that's kept me in the game.
I
Thinking
need that's like it's like an amen moment for me. Like it's so true because I always tell myself too, like is every day that I get to play saxophone or clarinet,
yeah.
I have won the day. You
There
know?
you go. And you've made a political statement actually. You've made a statement saying that I'm going to be creative. I'm going to have my own mind. I'm going to be free. This is freedom. What we do. It's free. It's controlled freedom. It's informed freedom, and it's anti-capitalist in a sense because
Hmm.
we're not doing it for a financial gain. We gonna get a financial gain from putting in the work, but it's anti non-thinking. So from that angle, yeah, you're a success. And it's not about how great you are, it's about the fact that you did something against the grain, against the norm of how I think uh, governments would like us to think. So I look at it like that also, like I'm sticking one to them. They don't want me to think, but practicing like, yeah, take this. I ain't never giving up. I'm never gonna stop, because I want this to grow. And I've met wonderful people, been wonderful places I never thought I would be, been introduced to so many things that I would not have gotten had I not done this. So that's a success. Intellect is a success, in my opinion.
I feel like I'm gonna ask you this next question, but I think we've been kind of touching on it. But I just love this quote so much, and it's I'm gonna read this here. It's from Brutal New York. It's the website, but it says his unique and compelling voice on the instrument is the result of a patient and painstaking confrontation with the fundamentals of the art. And I guess we've kind of been hinting on tradition and practice and all that kind of stuff. And I was wondering, like, what are the fundamentals of this art that we practice, and how do those fundamentals like transcend the time that we're in,
Hmm.
or what parts of this music like are non-comprom like you can't compromise, like it's just
Oh wow. Uh, wow, we're in a different time where we have people, and not a knock against them because I think you should. I know you should believe and have the right to say and feel any way you want. Um, the fundamentals are the basics of Western music. We cannot deny that this is a harmony that comes from a place that's put together with a people that gave it a specific type of rhythm to it. And so coming to grips with that, in my opinion, is one thing. Um, Having knowledge of the culture in terms of where it comes, American history, I think is a part of it. Um, there is a tradition of saying that I'm going to do my own thing, but I think that's in everything. Every I think that keeps things going. But the painstaking, I didn't write that, so I often thought what they meant by that too. Painstaking, like, whoo, I got to practice. I better put in 4 hours at least to get better. Or somebody's telling me to quit because this is not working, and I have to not believe what people tell me I should do. They probably were right, but I have to take that chance. And even now I have to take chances, and that part, the painstaking thought of failure. And if I do fail, do I continue? And if I continue and it's still going down, do I still continue? Or does it? So things like that. So maybe that's more of an internal thing, but in terms of the instrument itself, um, developing a relationship with the instrument, listening to all types of things. being in 4 dimensions, being in the past, the present, the future, and the fourth is just looking at all these things at once, like just being everywhere and everything at all times, and, and a lover of creativity, of light, not a death frequency, which I think is what's going on now. So for me, that's what that is. I know that's like nebulous, right? I know
No, that's
sometimes
great.
like students come to me, they be like, I want to study, and when they get with me, they be like, okay, I got these triads. They be like, what? I said, yo, get these triads down. Like, I can't teach you how to play, but I can teach you how to practice.
Yeah.
How to play is up to you, but I can teach you how to practice, and that's fundamental things, basic music, harmony type things, So that's what it is. I hope I answered that question. That is basically what it is for me.
No, that's great because I think as when I was coming up, my mentor again, Kid Jordan's saxophone player in New
Woo!
Orleans.
Yeah, there you
All he
go.
would talk about was the fundamentals. Like, and when
Yeah,
you would hear him practice, like he was just, he was practicing his horn.
yeah,
And I guess I don't know if this is accurate to say, but I think a lot of cats now are, pushing the boundaries or looking for the new thing or trying to like play something that's never been played before. And
yeah.
so
Good luck with that.
yeah, I don't, yeah. But I love like the fundamentals. Just seems like I love that word, and I love what it means in this music too, and
Hmm.
what you said about the triads too. Like every Sonny Rollins plays triads, Train plays
Yeah,
triads, you play
Bach,
triads.
everybody. I mean, yeah,
Everyone plays them different.
pops. Yeah, yeah, and you can't go wrong with the triad. I mean, they're all money notes. They always sound good. Can't go wrong with that. I mean, um, pushing it, trying to go forward. Yeah, yeah, I remember, and not to knock anyone who's doing that because I'm sure it's being done, but I became a lot happier when I realized that I am a part of something, and I am a part of a culture, and if I can be a spoke within the wheel, then that's cool because then it can move on to the next person that's going to do it. It's a story. It's not a flash or a joy ride for someone. Hey, I never heard that before. It's a part of a story. That's why we have to look back and look forward all at the same time because that's the history that we are. That's our history in America. We're confronted with the past. We have hopes for the future, and we do everything we can uh, now to make sure it's all of these things. So it's cool that young or anyone wants to push it forward, but a tree that lasts for over 100 years have deep roots, and if your roots aren't deep, I don't know how far that's going to go. But if you could do it, cool. That's cool. But for me, I'm just trying to. I think again back to the emotion aspect of it. If you play about emotions, then it's less about how far you're pushing it, but more about how you're connecting with the
Mm,
people. That
yeah,
you're playing for. That to me, that's more important. That's
absolutely,
how I feel.
absolutely. What role would you say, spirituality plays in your pursuit on this journey of life and creativity?
Hmm. Spirituality. Okay. Um. Yeah, but plays a lot of roles. I mean, um, you need a flashlight if you're gonna be in the dark, and you will be in the dark. I don't care what it is that you call that spirituality, Buddha, Allah, whatever you need. You need a flashlight. I learned that a long time ago. And anybody says they don't, I don't. I don't really believe them. Even if they don't have these figures in their minds, they have something. If it's intellect, oh, there's nothing. Whatever you need, you're gonna need it. So that role, uh, yeah, that's helped me through a lot. Yeah, it keeps me going, and I want to keep going. So I got my flashlight. I turn it on every day. Every chance I get, I turn my flashlight on. I don't like walking into dark rooms, unless I get into bed and you can turn the light off. I sleep with the curtains open because I like the sun to wake me up. You know what I mean? So I dig light. Ain't nothing wrong with dark, but this business and in this music, well, I think any creative endeavor or anything that you want to do um, that you can't see, you're gonna need a type of light. So whatever that is, I don't know. For me, it's what it is for me. But everyone needs it. And I think anyone who's succeeded in this had a flashlight. So I'll call spirituality, for the sake of making everyone feel included, a flashlight. So it's played a big role.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotta see. And I ain't talking about with these, you gotta see. You have to see that thing. So that's what it is.
That's beautiful. That's truly beautiful. Do you have any, what's on the horizon for you coming up? Do you have any projects that you're working on currently, or any musical endeavors that you're excited about?
I just finished. I did a while back. I did a recording called Americana, and I just did a volume 2 a month or so ago. So I'm finishing up the mixing and mastering of that, and really, as a result of COVID-19, I've met some really interesting people. Some outside of music things. I'm going to do an artist in residence at a wonderful place called the Looking Glass in upstate New York. Um, Probably do a little bit of traveling, living a different kind of life, somewhere different, where I don't know the language. I wouldn't mind doing that for a moment. I'm spreading out. I think I've come to grips with being a free spirit finally. I used to be mad at myself for thinking like that, but I accept it now. I am a free spirit, and my friends are free spirits, and we just go where we want to go. Free.
Was that like an internal battle that like you were kind of going through, like dealing with a
The
free
free
spirit?
spirit thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was, I always thought something was wrong with me thinking like that, but no, I wasn't wrong. No, that's why I think this music chose me. You know,
Hmm.
I'm a free spirit. I love structure, but I like to feel like I'm free. So I choose to live like that, and so that's why when people ask me where do you live, I say I live here. I live any damn where I want. I ain't got to be a millionaire to be where I want. I got a horn.
Yeah.
We're musicians. We're artists. We got friends all over the world,
Mm.
right? We got places where we're loved, and they want us to be there. So that's another flashlight. So COVID-19 had me all hemmed up. Now I'm like, yo, I want to spread out. I mean, it's still out there, but I don't seem to have gotten it. Knock on whatever. My friend would be like, knock on wood, but I can't find no wood. But I want to spread out. I want to go.
Yeah.
I want to meet other musicians. People I don't know. I want to be in other communities and take
Absolutely.
advantage of the fact that I have a key that's a saxophone that's going to let me in these doors. I'm gonna do it. And I used to think you had to be rich to do that. You ain't got to be rich. You just got to be willing to fly and coach. That's all. Yeah, that's all right. I can do that for a little bit. All right. Okay, cool.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I mean, I actually love that. That resonates with me on a high level
Me
because
too, bro. I'm like, yo,
I know when I met my wife, I told her, I was like, the only thing is I have to always feel free,
there you go.
because if I don't feel free, I want to break loose and then I start doing crazy shit. But as
There
long
you
as I
go.
feel free, I'm
I'm
good.
good. I ain't
I'm
gonna go
here.
nowhere. Don't let me see you leave. Don't see it. But
Right. So
I
it's
can do big points. I can hit you at A and B, but in the middle, let me do my thing. I'm gonna be all right. That's kind of how I like to play. Okay, I know the changes. It's all about tension and release. I know how to resolve. That's the
absolutely,
key. When in
absolutely.
doubt, play diminish.
Have
One of
I
them,
been doing
one of
that
them
wrong
gonna be
this whole
right.
time? I should just be playing shit.
One of them gonna be right. you know, they'd be like,
Uh,
"Ooh," it'd be like, "Yeah, that was a mistake," but I resolved. So was it?
All right, man. Dig, we coming up on the end here, man. But before we go, I want to make sure I give you an opportunity to tell the people where to link with you, how to find you wherever you are and hit you in the DMs and buy all your records and T-shirts and hats and everything else you're selling.
Well, look, yeah, hit me up on Instagram. I'm simple. I don't, you can go on these places where they sell records. That's where I'll be at. I don't believe in advertising for places. I think when you play somewhere, that place should hire a publicist. They should do the work. I'm not in the business of being somebody's publicist. That's not what I do. So if I'm in your town, you're no. So I don't give it up for free. So that's my take on it. But if I'm not in your town and you know where I'm at, you know damn well you ain't gonna come there to see me. You're gonna wait for me to come to your town. So I'll see you when I get there. If you're a jazz lover, then you'll know. If not, I don't think I'll be able to convince you. Go listen to Marion Wilkins. Maybe he'll convince you. Maybe you'll like him and maybe like me. I don't know. But nah, I'm around, man. It's cool. You can look me up on the internet. You'll find me. I'm around. If not, I got a few records out there. You'll run into me sooner or later. Don't worry. Yep.
Love it, man. Thanks for coming and working on this project, bro.
Oh, I really enjoyed this, man. Such a good vibe on here, man. This is positive. This is like we almost should have a beer or a cup of tea. I don't know.
I had my wine.
You had your wine? Damn.
Your wine? Damn. Come on.
I didn't know we were rolling like that.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah.
Okay. And I didn't even cuss. Wow, I usually curse. I felt so natural. Thanks, Alex. Hey, keep up the great work. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much for joining us tonight, man. It's really an honor and a pleasure to have an hour of your time tonight.
Oh, it was an honor and a pleasure to rap with y'all, man. Let's kick it after this in somewhere in the world. I might be down there where y'all at. You never know. I might pop up. Like, there you
go. Say, please, let's make the hang.
All right, what do I do? Do I leave myself, or I gotta wait for the theme music? What's happening?
Yeah, we got to sign off right now. Here we go. My name is Darian Douglas.
And I'm Greg Ajid. We'll see y'all later.
And I'm JD Allen.
There we go. All right, peace.